time of fact or fiction as we say hello to our friend John Breech. John, it's great to see you. Let's start with Ashton Jeanty here. Is he a bust for the Raiders? Fact or fiction?
Jordan, I am going to go with fiction. I am not ready to pile on him after just 3 carries, but I will say he wasn't even the best former Boise State running back in the game on Thursday night. That honor goes to Seahawks running back George Awani, who signed with Seattle as an undrafted free agent in 2024. He went off for 7 carries and 61 yards, and so I think that, if you combine that with the fact that Jeanty finishing with negative yardage, that really made it sting a little bit more that he struggled. Now, let's keep in mind the Raiders' first-team offense only played 1 offensive series. That's when Geno Smith was out there, ran 5 plays. They punted. Jeanty's first carry did go for 3 yards, so at least there was a little bit of positivity there, and then minus 4 yards on his next 2 carries. So obviously it doesn't mean a lot because he's playing behind a backup offensive line on that second possession, but we'll see how things turn out. But I'm going to go fiction right now. I'm going to give Jeanty a chance.
All right, this first-team offense will look to bounce back Saturday when the team takes on the 49ers. Elsewhere, another rookie got his taste of the preseason last night after holding out, and that was Shamar Stewart. We got a small sample size, but will Shamar Stewart's holdout be worth it? Fact or fiction?
I think fact, it will be worth it for the Bengals. Obviously, they would have loved to have get him into training camp a little bit earlier. He missed the first 3 practices. He missed all of spring, wasn't on the field for OTAs, didn't practice at mandatory minicamp. So when that happens, you fall behind. You're not learning as quickly as the other rookies. But it does look like Shamar Stewart has gotten quickly up to speed because he was actually one of the few bright spots for this Bengals defense on Thursday night against the Eagles. Now, that's not saying a lot because the defense was not great, but he did have a few quarterback pressures. He had 1 tackle for a loss. So this is exactly what you want to see out of your first-round pick if you are the Bengals. You just want to see him taking these baby steps forward each preseason game, and then by the time the regular season's here, you hope he is ready to start tearing things up. So I think what the Bengals saw out of Shamar Stewart on Thursday night was a positive.
It'll be really up to Stewart to try and fill this defensive gap that the Bengals are dealing with without Trey Hendrickson, as he has still not signed that dotted line. With that being said, the Bengals need Trey Hendrickson. Fact or fiction?
That is an absolute fact. As a matter of fact, if I'm Trey Hendrickson's agent, I am taking the film of the first quarter of this Eagles game, and I am sending it to the Bengals front office, and I'm saying, look, guys, this is what the defense looks like when Trey Hendrickson is not out there. You got to get my client under contract. So I do think, look, it's a preseason game. The preseason games don't mean a lot, but if you are the Bengals, you know what your defense looks like with Trey Hendrickson and without Trey Hendrickson. And it is a much, much better unit when Trey Hendrickson is on the field. I mean, you look at Terry McKee, the Eagles' backup quarterback, looked like an all-pro out there against the first-team Bengals unit. He went 5 for 5 for 73 yards in the first quarter. So when your defense is doing that, you need a pass rusher. You need someone strong. This adds more leverage for Trey Hendrickson, the fact that the defense struggled so much. So yes, the Bengals absolutely need Trey Hendrickson out there.
I love that idea. Just clip it off and send it through, and look how valuable I am. Our most notable injury, of course, of the preseason that we highlighted earlier is Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson. After taking that big sack last night, dislocated his pinky finger. So the Colts are once again in crisis mode at quarterback with no really viable solution. So I ask you, John Breech, these constant hits Anthony Richardson takes will cost him the starting job. Fact or fiction?
I am going to go fact here. Now, this is just a dislocated pinky. He's day-to-day, so this specific injury isn't serious, but it is concerning because it's part of a larger trend with Anthony Richardson. He just simply has not been able to stay healthy during his 2 seasons with the Colts. He's missed a total of 17 games due to injuries, and what we saw against the Ravens on Thursday night, he took a huge hit from David Ojabo, where Ojabo came in untouched and just crushed Richardson. Now, if you're a veteran quarterback or someone who's kind of been around the block, you're not going to take that hit because you have a little bit of awareness, which Richardson just hasn't shown. And so he's been taking these big hits, which has led to these injuries. And so if Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy, Daniel Jones is just going to win this job by default. So I do think that Richardson's injury history absolutely factors into what's going on here. And I won't be surprised if Daniel Jones does end up winning the job.
You hate to see it. All right, so we're getting away from this, pivoting here because we have an agenda of some big news stories to get to. And I want to start with, for the first time all training camp, Micah Parsons was not on the practice field due to back soreness and some tightness. Interesting timing on this, John. Possibly just some more fuel to the fire in this contract saga. How are you interpreting this?
Yeah, there seems to be a new twist in this situation every single day. And so you can view this one of two ways. When you have guys holding in, they can't just sit on the sideline. You might as well get yourself fixed up. So if Parsons is dealing with any ailments, there's no reason to be at practice. So it's not a huge red flag. But the flip side of this is, let's remember that just a couple weeks ago, Jerry Jones was sitting at training camp and talking about the fact that he had to pay guys who were injured. Dak Prescott, he mentioned Micah Parsons missing multiple games due to injury. And so this now, Jerry Jones is going to use this in negotiations now. Hey, Micah, you have a back injury. I'm not going to give you $42 million a year when you're getting injured while standing on the sideline at training camp. So this definitely is going to add to the drama. And I think this is actually going to draw out negotiations even more, especially if Parsons' back ailment is something that's bothering him for the next few days.
The plot thickens, the drama continues. Injuries continue this preseason as Chargers Pro Bowl left tackle Rashan Slater will miss the 2025 season with a ruptured patellar tendon that he suffered at practice just yesterday. You can't really sugarcoat just how big of a loss this is, John.
Yeah, this is an absolutely devastating loss for the Chargers. Rashan Slater is one of the best left tackles in the NFL. The Chargers know it. That's why they just gave him that 4-year, $114 million extension less than 2 weeks ago. He is not a guy you can easily replace. And when you lose a guy like Rashan Slater, that shakes up your entire offense. It's going to impact your ability to throw the ball because your protection's going to get worse. That's trouble for Justin Herbert. It's going to impact your ability to run the ball. So really, life is now going to be much more difficult for the Chargers. And the other part is you have to figure out, well, who's going to play left tackle now? I think one thing the Chargers will probably consider is moving Joe Alt, their starting right tackle, over to left tackle. But then you have Joe Alt kind of playing this new position, and now you have an empty spot at right tackle where you have to find someone, maybe Trey Pipkins. So this creates a huge set of trouble. This is just troubling circumstances for the Chargers all around, and it will be interesting to see how they kind of fix this issue and who they use to fill in at left tackle.
Most definitely. Lastly here, let's get to some news that we just learned down in Miami. Tyreek Hill not practicing today, dealing with an oblique injury. It doesn't seem likely that he'll play either in Sunday's preseason opener for Miami against the Bears. Just how concerning is this to you?
Well, it just seems there's something new with Tyreek every month or so. And we know with wide receivers, once you hit 30, the body kind of starts to slow down and fall apart. And it feels like that's what we're seeing with Tyreek Hill. He's 31 years old. After the 2024 season ended a few months ago, he underwent wrist surgery. So he was banged up then. Now he's dealing with this oblique injury. And I do think that there is almost a zero chance we're going to see him in the preseason because Mike McDaniel's not going to want to risk furthering that injury or aggravating another injury because Tyreek Hill is not a person they can afford to lose for any amount of time. They already traded away Jonnu Smith, who was one of their top pass catchers from last season. So now Tyreek Hill is going to be a huge part of this offense. He is not someone you can afford to lose. So I think the Dolphins will be very careful about this injury, kind of bring him back slowly so that he is ready for week 1. So I will be shocked if he's out there for any of Miami's 3 preseason games.
Second that, John Breech. Always great to talk to you here live on CBS Sports HQ with the very latest surrounding some of the top storylines this NFL preseason. Our crew is out at that joint practice between the Miami Dolphins and Chicago Bears ahead of their preseason game this upcoming weekend. As our CBS Sports training camp tour continues on Monday, they'll be in Santa Clara checking in with the 49ers before Wednesday. It's out to Owings Mills, Maryland to check in with the Baltimore Ravens.